So excited to dive into this idea of sensory rest. Think about how we process sensory information throughout the day. There might be those moments when things just start to feel overloaded, overwhelming, and overstimulating in your body. Might be the clothing that you had at the beginning of the day when you put it on felt very, very comfortable. But as things shifted and maybe the environment changed with brighter lights or really bright sunshine or sudden loud or different frequencies of noises that continue to pop in and they're just kind of filling your cup. That sensation of the texture of your clothing might be that one thing that overflows. And when that overflow occurs, those are those very powerful, intuitive messages from your body telling you it's time to take a break. And so, inviting in this context of sensory rest and doing it in a proactive, supportive way to help move your body into more of a state of calm, that optimal arousal level where we're tuned in, our frontal lobe is engaged, we're able to converse with others and not get overstimulated. We're able to think through and problem solve activities. We're able to solve problems and have the confidence to do so. And so when we think of this proactive, supportive nourishment of sensory rest to help with all of this powerful brain function, our frontal lobe and our executive functioning skills, and allowing and supporting those beautiful executive functioning skills in our day to day job, in our communications, our ability to complete tasks, we think about how we can proactively support and nourish the sensory system. And so, by taking these moments of pause, if that is going outside, grounding, maybe touching something in nature, or even just being present and noticing the change in the temperature on your skin, these beautiful mindful moments can be a very powerful part of sensory rest. When we think of those other areas of kind of internal feedback, our interoceptive feedback to our body, we're really, really tapping into, am I hungry? Do I need to take a sensory rest break that involves food? Do I understand the difference between hunger, hanger, and anger? Kind of those three that can be very similar in some ways, but have many, many different emotions. Um, and how we have this output of our reactions to things within, but also our reaction to things externally. Some of my favorite things to do when I'm thinking about proactively taking a sensory rest is to do a check in. So, having these very powerful moments built into the day, if that's setting like little reminders, like take a breath, if those are little, reminders that pop up on your phone to help say, like, time for a 5 minute sensory rest break. We think about how we can shift from this internal feedback to changing the environment. And doing this in a proactive way is always the goal. But even if we are in that moving towards heightened state, these are so, so, so supportive to maybe catch it right before we have that moment of complete overstimulation, that irritability where our voice gets loud, we have a big emotion, which are all understandable and all accepted. But these are just some of those tools to consider as a possibility of, wait, could I catch it before it fully moves into anger? Can I catch it just in this beautiful awareness piece before I have this thing that I maybe say and have a regret of saying? That kind of impulsive, either body response or even guttural, like sensation of our throat, like, ugh, or this sigh or this sense of disgust. Can I bring this self awareness piece to what is the internal feedback telling me? Something is changing, something's feeling more uncomfortable within my body. And then trialing a couple things of shifting the environment to help support this sensory rest. So, some other ideas we talked about breathing, we talked about going into nature and having these kind of proactive, literal breaks throughout our day from the day to day, from bright fluorescent lighting, from moments of loud or sudden sounds. There might be moments where you're deeply advocating for an additional little break and spending maybe a part of your lunchtime eating your lunch, and then maybe a part of your lunchtime where you're out, stepping out into a quiet space and acknowledging this beautiful contrast of one versus the other. Some other things to keep in mind is just the power of shifting the environment. So, can I make it a little bit darker? Can I make it a little bit quieter? Are there earbuds that could be supportive, or using headphones for a short period of time? Are there moments where we can reduce the lighting or just use a lamp or maybe even a candle? This is one that I recruit a lot. Is I love this red lighting. And so this is one that I will, if I'm starting to notice my sensation in my body, heart rate increasing a little bit, breath rate is increasing a little bit, I will go ahead and shift down the light a little bit in my environment and just kind of focus in on this beautiful visual focal point of this kind of glowing red. And these are just one of those, quick little switch candles that battery operated, but it's a very powerful tool with for my sensory need in those beautiful sensory rest moments of just kind of dampening things from the outside. Might be if you're outside and things are just feeling overwhelming, might be wearing a ball cap to where things are a little less overstimulating visually, or using sunglasses, because nature can be very, very powerful of a energetic shift in how we move through the environment, how we move through this internal feedback of receiving these lovely examples of how to slow down when we are in nature. So I hope this was a helpful kind of review of thinking about those internal interoceptive cues that are helping give those little reminders in our body that we do have the power in taking charge to utilize these very powerful nervous system resets through sensory rest, through mindfulness, mindfulness in nature, and the power of taking action to shift the environment around us to help our nervous system and help us feel empowered through our senses.